Welcome to a great a game like no other. After many years of being in the wars and the many battles on the chessboard, I have accumulated a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge like no other chess player. And I am here to pass it on to you today. Today we will do a deep dive into one of my skirmishes on the chessboard, a game like no other. Now, this game was a real game of chess. This game is a game like no other. This game, in fact, was a perfect game, and it was a game that it should be every person that's learning to play chess should know this game. And it's a model game for the Scotch Gambit opening. This was played in the Budapest 6 days Grandmaster tournament, world famous tournament. Everyone knows about it, famous tournament, very strong competition. Players from all over the world come to this tournament seeking to raise their level and chase the Grandmaster title. And I was in this tournament at the time. In this game, I was with the white pieces up against Bai Adelaide, an international master from Taiwan. So before the game, I did some preparation, but I didn't do any too deep preparation. I knew whatever the guy would play, I would be the guy. As simple as that. And chess master rule 121 is it doesn't matter what the opponent will play, he will lose anyways. So the game started with pawn to e4, proceeded pawn to e5, knight to f3, knight to c6 is standard moves, nothing special to see here. Bishop to c4, knight to f6, and here I chose to move pawn to d4, going for the Scotch Gambit. A forgotten move. This move used to be popular back in the old days. But in the new days with the computers, the AI, and this move is not played too much. But I brought back the move. In fact, I did some very deep research. I went into depths like no other has gone. E takes d4 and pawn to d5. The whole idea of this opening is white is creating an imbalance right away. White is bringing the pressure to black. And for those of you who know the Scotch Gambit opening, you all will know the move is pawn to d5. Black makes an immediate counter attack on the bishop with the idea that if white captures the knight, black captures the bishop, and black has this strong pawn center that is very menacing. Bishop to b5 was played, and my opponent opted for the main line, knight to e4, and I captured knight captures d4, typical Scotch Gambit territory, pinning his knight. He has almost no choice other than bishop to d7. And now I captured with the bishop, he recaptured, and I castled. Now here is a very popular position in the Scotch Gambit. The whole idea of this is white is playing for, black has these double pawns. However, sometimes they can become mobile with c5, and black is gaining a lot of control in the center here. White has a strong pawn on e5, which could be a menacing force. The knight on e4 is not so stable. It could be kicked away with f3 at some point. And black is yet to finish his development and castle. So it's an imbalanced position. White is going for the truth here. White is coming out for the win. He played bishop to c5. I kicked his knight pawn to f3. Yes, I'm putting my knight in a pin. However, his knight on e4 is very strong. I want him to go back. So basically, I am telling him, mush. So he played knight to g5. I played pawn to f4, kicking his knight again, and he moved it back. So basically, what I did here was I won a tempo. I played pawn to f3, I attacked his knight. He moved back to g5, and I hit him again with pawn to f4. I reinforced my center. I added some extra protection. I am strengthening the defenses. And now I played bishop to e3, to bring my bishop out and contesting the same diagonal. And he played a very modern move in theory, queen to b8. For those of you who are the more seasoned chess players who've been around, maybe you have not been in the wars like me. Now I've seen it all on the chessboard. I have traveled more than 50 countries playing in chess tournaments, and I've been in many battles. Of course, not always winning, sometimes losing very painfully, sometimes getting blown off the board myself. But that all made me accumulate all this experience through the years of war, and I've learned many lessons. The game of chess is a brutal game. It's a game like no other. In fact, the football is a very easy game. Anyone can play football. I can say I'm not playing chess and I can go and play football. I will crush everyone in that. Chess is a very hard game. But the game of chess Very few people can play that. In fact, the other day I heard a quote. I heard it is easier to become a millionaire than it is to become a chess grandmaster. And I completely agree with that. Here, after the move queen to b, the whole idea is black is he's putting some pressure on the b2 pawn. And maybe the queen can come to b6 and support the pressure of the knight on d4 and the bishop on e3. So did I not know the position? Of course, I knew this position. I'm a well seasoned player. I analyzed this and I knew exactly that this could happen. And I prepared a special wicked surprise for my opponent here. Not a novelty, but a very rare move that I analyzed before the game and I dropped it on my opponent. I played the move queen to d3. My opponent here, he's thinking, he doesn't know what to do. He's getting a bit nervous. He starts sweating. He takes some water. He starts sipping it, but he didn't expect this move. The guy, he doesn't know what to do. Okay, capture the pawn. The guy captures the pawn. I play knight to d2. What now? His knight is under attack. So it seems only logical that he take the knight. He takes. Queen captures d2. And what has transpired here? At the moment, his queen is in a funny place on b2. And I have the knight on d4, the strong bishop on e3. He still has his double pawns, and perhaps I'm ready to go to f5 and e6. His king is still in the center. So combined with all these factors, I get enough compensation for the pawn sacrifice. He castled, and now I played a very interesting move that I deeply analyzed, which was pawn to e3. The whole idea is that I'm threatening rook to b1, and the pawn on a3 stops the queen from escaping. Black immediately starts panicking. The guy from Taiwan, he didn't know what to do. He was sweating. He was getting very pale. He played queen to b6. A very logical move, but a mistake, and we'll see why. What would you play here for white? So the guy is putting pressure here. He's eyeing down the knight and the bishop, and I played queen to c3, attacking his bishop on c5. And the whole idea of this is I'm actually tying down his queen. His queen cannot move. His queen has to defend the bishop, and his bishop does not want to take on d4. He played pawn to a5 here. And as a seasoned veteran of the game, being through all the wars, I put on my thinking cap and I recognized that this was a critical moment here. The problem in the position is I realized they should have some tactics. If I play knight to e6 here with an attack on his bishop and his rook, he could, first of all, he could simply capture an e3 with check here, and that would be a big problem. And the whole idea is that if I play pawn to e6, which I mean was the original idea, with pawn takes and knight takes, the idea is I'm threatening mate and attacking his bishop, he can take here with check. So I meant pawn to e6 first. Knight e6 is just a free piece. Come on, it's late my time. I didn't get enough sleep. I can make mistakes sometimes too in the analysis. Here I was thinking very deeply. I said, okay, this pin is a bit dreadful. What if I play rook to b1 and so on? He moves his queen to a7, and then I was thinking about tactics with knight takes c6, but then I realized again he would take with check. So I found a brilliant move, king to h1, stepping out of any checks, and now I have many threats of rook to b1, pawn to e6 possibly, and it's very hard, almost impossible to defend. He could not find a defense. He took on d4, parted with his bishop. I recaptured, and now we can see the big difference in opposite color bishops. As I said in one of my previous videos, Chessmaster Rule 578, I believe, is the opposite colored bishops favor the attacking side. He played queen to b5. What will you play here? Pawn to e6, opening up the dynamic duel. He recaptured with the pawn. I captured the bishop, and his king is naked. His king is in severe danger. He moved his rook and simply bishop to e5, and just look at his king. His king is dead meat. His bishop is very bad. His queen is offside. And after pawn to c5, I played a very interesting move, queen to h3, with the idea that I want to come queen to h6 and cut off his king. Because in this position, I realized Maybe the guy wants to go king f8, king e8, king d8, and start to make a little run. So I said, let me stop that with queen to h3, getting ready to play queen h6. And he played king f8, and I simply brought in a recruit, rook to f3, getting ready, rook can come to b3, can come to g3, and the opponent was low on time, under pressure, and played rook to b8. And how would you finish the game here? He missed rook to b3, losing a rook, and he simply resigned. What a game! The game was fantastic. After this novelty, queen to d3, which you probably have not seen, you can analyze it and use it in your own games. Of course, you learn so much from my experience, from my game. Keep learning, keep writing down the different chess master rules. There are more than 1,000 of them in my collection, and through each video, you will learn a new one. Keep fighting and improving.